guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another Q&A video. It's been a while. I think my last one was in May, which I will link above if you're interested. And so I'm just gonna jump right in with questions. I've decided not to say who asked the question this time because I find that I waste a whole bunch of time like stumbling over names and apologizing for mispronouncing names, and there's no need for that. So I'm just gonna jump in, and almost all of my questions are from Instagram. So if you don't already follow me, make sure you follow me. My handle is Blair Blogs, BLAIR BLOGS. There's a link below if you wanna check that out. And that's where I always ask for questions for Q&A videos. So you'll wanna follow me there if you have questions for future Q&A videos. All right, so let me just jump right in. I don't think I'm gonna be able to answer everyone's today. I have my phone in my hand and I'm pulling up my Instagram. So that's why I have my phone in my hand. I don't think I'm gonna be able to answer everyone's, but I will answer as many as I can today. Also, there are several of these that either were already on my list of blog posts or YouTube videos that I want to create, and or it gave me an idea. The question gave me a great idea of something that I could write about on my blog or share about here on YouTube. And so for those, I'll share the question and then I'll just say stay tuned because I'm about to write about it or share about it in another way. So just so you know, that's that, because I don't want this video to be too long. Usually Q&As are a little bit on the longer side, but I don't want it to be crazy. Okay, so the first question is, can you share more about your journal? I read your 2015 blog post about it, but I'm curious if you still journal in the same way and how often. I still journal frequently. I journaled every single day for several years and I no longer do that, but I still love to journal when I have the chance, and usually I just write my journal to God, and so it's kind of like a prayer journal, but I also will talk about what's going on in my life, and it's just, I love to write, and so that's kind of yes, I still journal the exact same way as I have always journaled, and but I don't do it as often anymore. I should get back into that. I really do like doing it. The next question is, do you still use the Erin Condren planner? That's one of those that I'm going to create either a video or a blog post about, maybe both, about my planner, because yes, I still have my Erin Condren planner, but I've actually started using something else to suit my needs more. So I'll talk about that. And then another question was about my favorite kind of throw it together weekday meals, and I wrote a blog post on that because so many people asked that same question, and it's already published. So I'm going to link that above, my favorite 5 weeknight meals, and hopefully that will help you out if you are looking for some meal inspiration. I know we're always looking for new recipes, so if you have any great recipes that are easy, pop them down below. Top 3 dream travel locations. Literally everywhere. I would like to visit so many different places. Definitely Japan. I have been wanting to visit Japan all my life. I would love to visit Japan. Another one, lately I've been all about like Switzerland or Austria or Belgium, Germany, some of those European countries that I've never been to. I've really been interested in visiting them, and I'm kind of like, could we do like a little tour? So Riley and I've been kind of talking about that. And then my last one is Hawaii. I have always wanted to go to Hawaii, but I would settle for pretty much any beach. Like we can go to Fiji if we can't go to Hawaii. So those are 3 of many. Top 5 favorite podcasts right now. Currently, I am loving Young House Love has a podcast. I love Happier with Gretchen Rubin. I also love kind of a spin-off of that show, which is called Happier in Hollywood. I love The Birth Hour, which is birth stories. I'm a complete birth junkie. I've never given birth. I just have always been fascinated with pregnancy and birth. So if you are too, whether you have kids or not, you will love that. And then my final favorite of the 5 is called WDW Prep to Go, and it's a Walt Disney World podcast that I really enjoy listening to because it gets me in the mood for Disney trips. Who are your favorite authors? I have so many. I love to read, and I have so many. I'm currently reading Daring Greatly by Brené Brown, so if you've read that, let me know. Any Disney trips being planned soon? Yes, we are going back to Disney in January of 2018 and we cannot wait. What do you do for date nights? Like just go out for dinner, or do you try to do some kind of activity too? We really like going out to dinner. We like going to get coffee together as well. We enjoy shopping together. Neither of us actually love shopping all that much, but there's nowhere to shop in town. So often we will go drive, it's about 30 miles away, to one of the 2 nearest cities that has shopping, and we'll go walk through, you know, some store of some kind, and we will shop together. So we like doing that. Sometimes we'll go on double dates with friends. We like having people here. Sometimes we'll just go take a really long walk kind of as a date. So I don't know, it would be fun to do like activities, but we don't live in a place that has a whole lot of offerings as far as that. There's not like an indoor skydiving place. Why is that my first thought? Like, that's what people do on dates. There's not one of those. So we can't. Yeah, we go out to dinner a lot. How did you decide on your major in college? I went into college thinking I was going to study international business, which is not a real major. So, well, I guess at some schools it probably is. And actually, I think at my school it was. Scratch that. I went into school thinking I would study international business. I ended up breaking that down and having getting a business marketing degree with a minor in Spanish. I decided on that because I wasn't exactly sure which route I wanted to take. Can you hear Charlie growling at people walking by? I wasn't exactly sure what route I wanted to take, and so I felt like business was a good place to start because pretty much everything is a business, and marketing, I really got drawn into marketing because it's really creative, and that's how I decided. How do you maintain your long distance friendships? I'm not very good at this. Because I don't really like talking on the phone that much, and I don't really like texting that much, and those are kind of the ways. But I really do try, and my friends try, and we just do the best that we can. We try to plan trips to go and see each other, and we try to text, and we try to make phone calls and FaceTime, and we try to do all those things. We sometimes will write letters or send packages to each other. We just do the best we can. It's really hard being in different time zones, having completely different day-to-day lives. I've written about it on my blog before. It is so hard. But we do what we can, and we stay in touch, and it's always like no time has passed when we're back together in person, but it is challenging. It is challenging. There are a few more questions on that comment, but I'm gonna move forward. How do you and Riley maintain a spiritual life together? Like, do you pray together, journal, read the Bible? I talked about this in one of my previous Q&As. We go to the same church, and we love talking about the sermon when we are finished with it. We often read our Bible together at night. We pray together every night. We see each other a lot, and God is a topic of conversation all the time. We are always talking about our faith and how that affects our decision making and how that affects our marriage, and all of that. We've never bought a Bible study and like worked through it together. I don't think that level of kind of formality would work just for us as a couple. But there's a dog outside, and Charlie cannot handle it. Okay, are you done? Enough. But our faith and our beliefs are a fluid undercurrent of everything we do. All of the decisions that we make, the way that we spend our money, the way that we spend our time, all of that is based on our foundation of Jesus. And so it's hard to pinpoint, like, we don't wake up at the same time every morning and have a couple's devotional Bible study, which is beautiful, and for some couples that really works. For us, we do some things together, but a lot of our faith is the deep kind of time that we spend with the Lord is on our own. And we like to talk about it together, but we don't usually spend that time together. This comment has a lot of questions. What type of food do you most like to cook or prepare at home? I answered that in that blog post I just previously linked. What are your go-to snacks? Well, if I'm not being conscientious, always sugar. I am sugar over salt most of the time. Riley is salt over sugar, so it makes interesting snack choices when we're choosing, because he wants one thing and I want the other. But if I'm being good, I really like hummus and veggies, or cheese and crackers. I really like yogurt. That's a good snack. Yeah, those are some of my favorite snacks. I'm not a huge snacker because when I get absorbed into what I'm doing, I forget about snacking. Also like apple and peanut butter, banana and peanut butter, that's another good one. And so usually I just usually eat some meals, but a lot of times I'll eat like a second, my snack will typically be after dinner actually, because I'm such a night owl and I stay up so late. So a lot of times I'll have like some fruit or something like that after dinner as a way to fuel my evening, because I'm always up really late. Do you find blogging/vlogging stressful? I don't find it stressful, but I think unless you've done it, like I had no idea how much work it was. It can be very time consuming. Writing a blog post usually takes me between 4 and 5 hours from beginning to end, including everything, to the point where I'm ready to schedule it. And doing a vlog or a video or whatever, it depends on the length of it or what kind of thing it is, but like editing takes a long time. So I really enjoy it. I don't think if I find it stressful, I just, I think it's more time consuming than I realized. And I run a blogger mentorship program, and I've worked with quite a few women, and that's almost always the #1 comment I get is like, wow, I didn't realize blogging was so time consuming, because it really can be, but not stressful. I really enjoy it. Just sometimes more time consuming than I wish it were or that I think it's going to be. If you met someone new in town who is looking for suggestions of things to see or do or experience, specifically in Gainesville, which is the little town that I live in, what would be your top 3 suggestions? Drive somewhere else. Okay. In all seriousness, there's just nothing to do here. There's like nothing to do here. There's like one really cute restaurant that I would recommend. There's a cute antique shop that I would recommend. There's some things outside of Gainesville that are like in the surrounding areas that could be fun. There's really not a lot to do here. We find our own fun. We go take long walks and drive through the old neighborhoods, and we go get food and have picnics and do things like that. But as far as like things that you would find on like TripAdvisor, no, there's really none. Okay. A bunch of people ask me who my favorite YouTubers are, so I actually made a list of all of my favorite YouTubers. Now, I love watching YouTube. It's one of my favorite pastimes. When I have some downtime, that is what I love to do. So there are many more than this, but these are people who I watch time and time again. Like, I really come back to them. A lot of times I'll be watching a video and like the suggested another video will come up in the sidebar, and often I'll click on that and that will be someone else, and I'll go watch a few of their videos and whatever. But these are like some solid people who I've continually watched. Okay. What? Okay. So here we go. I love Bits of Paradise. She is so fun. Love her. Natalie Bennett is adorable and really upbeat and positive. Sprinkle of Glitter. She's Louise Pentland. She's huge. She's a huge YouTuber, but I really enjoy her videos. Paige Danielle, she's a newer one that I've started watching, but I really enjoy her videos. This Gathered Nest, she's so cute. They have a huge family of kids that they have had biologically and adopted, and it's just, she's great. Patricia B in France, she doesn't put as much on her English channel anymore as she used to, but I really enjoy her. Pretty Neat Living, she always has really cute like little ideas for organization and things like that. Sophia Nygaard, I love her. She's hilarious and she always has these crazy challenges. Mama Natural, I've loved her for a long time. She talks about natural living. Ellie Stedman, she she's English, but she is in Orlando right now, working at the England Pavilion in Epcot in Disney World, and so she has Disney vlogs that she's fun. And then the last one is Marie Bits and Clips, and she lives in Seattle and she's just fun and quirky, and I just love her videos. She puts me in a good mood. So that's a sampling of some of my favorites, some of my favorite YouTubers. What would your dream Disney vacation look like? It would be like 3 months long at the Grand Floridian. Is that too much? But truly, I would want to go for a long time, because the longer the better, in my opinion. I've always wanted to stay at the Grand Floridian. It is crazy expensive. I would love to stay there, and it would be so fun to stay there for a while. And I would love to eat at all of the signature restaurants, because those are just so delicious, but again, they're really pricey. So if it's like money's not an object, it would be seriously like a month-long in the Grand Floridian, eating at delicious restaurants, and I would love it. This is probably my favorite question I got for this Q&A. Do you like hot Cheetos? I laughed so hard. That is the best question. Actually, yes, I do. I love spicy Cheetos. She wrote, where I'm from, everyone loves them, but they're just so spicy, with the like laughing face. I never used to like them, but I think I've gotten a taste for spicier food since I moved to Texas, because there's so much Tex-Mex here, and it's a lot of times has a kick to it. Yes, I do like hot Cheetos. Actually really like them. Now I'm craving them. What is your sleep schedule like, and is it important to you and your routine? What time do you go to bed? I have struggled with sleep forever. I sleep really well. Like, I don't have insomnia or anything like that, but I am the biggest night owl you will ever meet in your life. I can stay up all hours of the night. It is when I feel the most alert, the most motivated. It is just, I'm just such a night owl. So, generally, I try to be in bed around midnight, but that is seriously very challenging for me. Many nights I am falling asleep around 1 or 2 a.m. It's just, I've struggled with it for a long time, and I've just begun to embrace it. I can't change the fact that that's just the natural rhythm. I've always been that way. My mom said when I was a little one, I was like that. It's just, I can't change that about myself, and so I'm trying to just embrace it. And so, yeah. Yeah, sleep is very important to me, and I need sleep to function, but I have a hard time unwinding to go to bed at night. So usually I get up around, my alarm goes off at 7:30, and so since I know that's coming, a lot of times I can force myself to get in bed around 11:30 or midnight, but oftentimes I have a hard time. Riley always laughs at me because he's like, I have never met anyone who has this much energy at 12:30 a.m. or something. So sleep is definitely important to me, and I've gotten into a better routine in adulthood, but I've just come to terms with the fact that I just am a night owl. I don't see that changing. I do the best I can to work around it. Luckily, I have a job and a schedule that's very flexible, and so I can work around that. But I always have wished I was a morning person. I'm just not a morning person. I'm not in a bad mood in the morning, but I am much more alert at night. I pinned my hair back so I wouldn't be playing with it, and now I'm playing with it because it's pinned back and I think it looks weird. I feel like that's okay. Alrighty. This is an interesting, what's your post-travel routine? I always say that it generally takes me about a week after I get home from a trip to feel like I'm completely back in line. So usually like the day after I'll try to do some laundry, then the next day I'll try to go grocery shopping, and like so on. I'll try to just chip away at getting back in the swing of things. It can be really challenging with Etsy and blogger mentorship in particular, because those things don't pause when I go away, and so I have to keep up with them while I'm gone, but it's challenging. And so when I come back home, I have to spend a lot of time and attention getting those things to where they need to be, and so that makes it hard to do things like laundry and grocery shopping and things like that. So I usually kind of spread it out, and it usually takes me about 7 days to just do little by little, get the suitcases away, completely unpack, put everything back, do all the clothing, laundry, all those kinds of things before I feel like I'm really back. So that's that would be an interesting blog post, but that's generally my post-travel routine. All right, here's some more questions. I got a question about the camera I use. I'm sorry, this lighting is horrible. The sun is going, it's really cloudy, and the sun is going in and out, and I tried to adjust my camera for it, but it's just not great, so I'm sorry. So I got a question about my vlogging camera. I have the Canon G7X, and I absolutely am obsessed with it. I love it so much. It takes beautiful pictures. It takes crisp videos. I just absolutely love it. Highly recommend it. It's not cheap. It's definitely an investment, but I think it is so worth it. I love it. It is my favorite camera. I love it so much. Another question I got, and I love this one. was, how old would you be if you did not know how old you were? And so I responded and said, does that mean like my spirit age? And she said yes, which I think that's such a fun question. My spirit age is probably 98 years old. I am such an old lady, and I always have been. I like quiet, gentle things. I like sitting at parks. I like sitting and watching the waves at the beach. I like to read. I like to write handwritten letters. I like to cook homemade food. I love drinking tea. I love old-fashioned pleasures. I always have. When I was in 4th grade, fun fact, I had a bird watching journal, and I would like write in my journal and write out the wind, like looking out the window. I would write all the birds that I saw, and my sister got a hold of it, and she's my little sister, and she like colored all over it and ruined it, and I freaked out because she ruined my bird watching journal. So yeah, I would say about 98 years old is my spirit age. Someone asked, what are my favorite Young Living oils and products? I don't sell Young Living, but I love their products, and I'm all about oils. I love essential oils. I don't know that I have a favorite. I just love all of them so much. I have rollers everywhere. I use them every night. I use them every morning. I diffuse them all the time. Gosh, I don't know what my favorite would be. My current favorite is a recipe for a roller that's called Liquid Calm, and it's a lot of oils that promote a sense of calm and like ease anxiety and things like that. And so I have loved using that. That is one of my favorites to use before bed. It really helps me turn my brain off so I can go to bed. And that's just a blend of a whole bunch of different oils. I have shared it on my Instagram before. But yeah, I don't think I have a favorite. I love all of them. Besides traveling, do you and Riley have any hobbies that you enjoy doing together? I would love to know what you do to keep friendship in your marriage. I think that's so important. That's a great question. I think it's so important to be friends with your spouse. You know, it's important to be romantic and have that side of your relationship too, but like friendship is such a great foundation for marriage. And Riley and I definitely were friends, and then I almost said and then lovers. That's such a weird thing to say, but you know what I mean. It's funny, we don't share a lot of hobbies. We were talking about it the other day. Like, he loves video games, he loves concerts, like I don't really like concerts anyway, because just the lights and the music makes me feel dizzy, but and the people, it's just not. I'm 98 years old, remember? I can't be doing concerts all the time. But he likes obscure concerts of bands that I have never heard of, that you have never heard of, like just really obscure bands. And I unfortunately don't share in his enthusiasm for that. So it's like, probably, you know, I'm not all gung-ho about going to those. So we don't really share that. But in our day-to-day life, there's a lot of things that we both love to do. We both love cooking, so a lot of times we'll cook together. We both love coffee, so a lot of times we'll kind of sit on the couch and drink coffee together, or go to Starbucks and have a coffee date. We both love to eat. We both love to eat. So we go out to eat a lot, or we'll cook a fun dinner here. We love taking long walks together. We do that a lot, especially when the weather's not hot, which it's September 19th today, and the humidity is about 500,000%. It is killing me. It is so humid, like way more humid than it was in most of the summer months. Like, it's miserable to be outside. But when it's not miserable to be outside, we like taking really long walks after dinner. Like, we'll walk for an hour or 90 minutes. That's really when we connect, and we'll laugh together and talk about things, and it's just, we really enjoy doing that together. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think some people really, in their marriage, they have these hobbies, and they both love to kayak, or they both love to rock climb, or they both love to go to these kinds of concerts or play these kinds of games. And like, we have really different interests. Our personalities are different in a lot of ways, although our core values are the exact same, but our interests and hobbies, they are different. They're really different. But that's what I love about us as a couple, and it makes things really interesting, and we share about each other's interests and support each other in each other's interests. And then we have a lot of things that we like to do together too, even though our hobbies maybe aren't exactly the same. I think it's a myth that you have to have the exact same hobbies as your spouse to have a healthy and loving relationship, because we have a great marriage and are not, and we definitely don't do all the same things. All right, I just have 2 more questions from Facebook. There were 3, but one of them was, what are your other favorite vloggers on YouTube? And I already shared about that. So The next one is, what is your and Riley's best advice for engaged or soon to be engaged couples? I'm gonna try not to get on a soapbox here, but I believe every single couple who is considering marriage or is engaged to be married should go through premarital counseling. 100% of people, I believe, can benefit from it. Riley and I had an amazing dating relationship. When we were dating, we were just so in love with each other, such great friends, couldn't wait to be married. We went through very intensive marriage premarital counseling. It was the best thing we've ever done for our relationship. It was so important. We talked about really hard things. We talked about finances in depth. We talked about husband and wife roles in the house in depth. We talked about all of those kinds of things that you feel like you've talked about when you're dating, but you probably haven't talked to the level. I mean, we got in depth. We talked about disciplining our future children, like all those kinds of things. And it was such a healthy and important thing that, I mean, I just think premarital counseling, I just shout it from the hilltops. I tell everyone who's engaged, go get some premarital counseling. A lot of times there are places in your community, like maybe a local church, that will offer premarital counseling for free. We did ours for free through a church, and it was a 12-session intensive, I mean, each session was 3 to 4 hours long, intensive premarital counseling. It is the best thing we've ever done for our marriage. I mean, I can't think of anything that could be better than building that foundation and talking about those things. It's really interesting because I think that we feel so independent from our nuclear families when we're getting ready to get married, but the reality is that your perspective of what a healthy marriage is, or in general just what a marriage relationship looks like, or what the roles of a husband and a wife within a marriage look like, is almost completely driven by what you saw in your parents, and whether they were divorced and fought a whole bunch and then to you that may feel normal, or whether your dad always took care of this, or your mom always took care of this. You go into marriage with this subconscious view of what is normal or what is expected, and your partner had a completely different upbringing. And so your partner may not have those same perspectives, and that's where conflict arises. And so we were able to talk through a lot of that in premarital counseling. And it was really interesting because there were some things that I was like, well, of course we're gonna do it that way. And to me, I thought that because that's how my parents had always done it. And then Riley would say, well, I never considered doing it that way. I always thought we would do it this other way, or whatever. And it just made for some really challenging but really important conversations about hot topics in a marriage. And we've continued to have to talk about those things. Of course, it's not like you talk about, you know, your finances or husband and wife roles or something like that one time, you know, before you get married, and then never talk about that again. But setting that stage for how we are going to go into our marriage and talking through that, and oh my gosh, 1,000,000,000% go get some premarital counseling. Find people that you trust to do it. Find a counselor you trust to do it. Whomever suits you and your spouse or your spouse to be, but just go and talk about those hard issues, and talk about communication, and talk about fighting and forgiveness. And I mean, this was during our premarital counseling. It was a husband and wife who were counseling us, and during one of our sessions with them, they had an argument about, they like in front of us wanted to show us what it looked like to have a healthy argument. It was life-changing. They had this argument between the two of them of something that they had actually argued about a few days before then. And then they showed the steps of reconciliation and forgiveness, and talking through that argument that they had had and moving forward, and seeing that played out, and seeing that framework and what it looks like to have a healthy disagreement or a healthy argument and move forward from that without holding grudges, and moving forward in love, was completely life-changing to me. I had never seen anything like that. And it was just, my parents have a wonderful marriage, but they never fought in front of us, which is probably really a good thing. Like, I never saw my parents fight in front of us. And so I, as an adult, didn't know necessarily how do you really go through that. And so seeing that, it was awesome. So get premarital counseling. No matter how strong you feel as a couple, no matter how much you feel like you've talked about everything under the sun, no matter how much you feel like you're on the same page, I promise you, you will benefit from premarital counseling. We felt all those things. We went into it like so prideful, thinking, you know, we had it all together and we were such a great couple and we had already talked about everything. And we talked about things that I had never even considered discussing. And it made walking into marriage just so much better because we were on completely the same page and we had gone through and vetted issues and talked about things. And I told you I wasn't going to get on a soapbox, and I completely did. But I'm telling you what, I think it is just critical to get some premarital counseling. So that's what I have to say about that. The last question is, when do you start holiday prep? I'm actually starting, it's mid-September, mid to late September now, and I'm starting to think about it. I usually like to have all of my shopping done by Thanksgiving, and we have already booked our flights. We are going to Baltimore for Christmas this year. We switch years, so last year we were here for Christmas and we flew to Baltimore for Thanksgiving, and then this year we will be here for Thanksgiving and we'll fly to Baltimore, which is my hometown, if you don't know, for Christmas. So we've already booked those flights. We've already started to talk about shopping, already started to talk about a few different things. Holiday prep not only includes Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving, but it also includes my birthday and Riley's birthday. And so we have a lot to plan and think about. So a lot of times we try to kind of figure out, like, do we want to do gifts this year for Christmas and birthdays, or would we rather so we're going to Disney in January, so we're kind of like, okay, that's kind of, let's just call that our Christmas gift to each other, then we can do small birthday gifts and things like that, just to talk through it. Having December birthdays his birthday is pretty rough. It's the 27th, so like his is pretty rough. Mine's the 9th, so it's a little bit earlier, but it's still a lot all at once. And so for us, holiday prep includes birthdays. So yeah, so probably early October we'll really start getting into the nitty-gritty of getting gifts and budgeting for that and figuring out how we're gonna do all those different things. But we've already started now just by booking those flights and starting to have those conversations. So that is all the time I have today to answer questions, and I was able to get through most of them. There were a few I had to gloss over, but hopefully I can get to those the next time. If you ask me a question, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your question. And like I said, make sure you follow me on Instagram and or Facebook, because that's where I usually do calls for questions. So if you have something you want to talk about in the next Q&A, I would appreciate you following me on those platforms, and the link is below. I hope y'all are having just the best day, and I will see you at my next video, on my next video. See you guys later. Bye.